In 2026, leanness has quietly replaced money, titles, and loud confidence as the real status symbol for men. Not because society announced it, but because biology never stopped paying attention. A lean body tells a story before you ever open your mouth. It signals that you can delay gratification, control impulses, and commit to long-term effort without needing external validation. Women instinctively read this as power. Not fake power, earned power. For decades, men were told that success alone would compensate for physical neglect. Get rich, get educated, get important, and attraction would follow. That story worked in slower eras, but modern dating moves at the speed of images, impressions, and split-second judgments. In a world of endless options, women don't have time to investigate potential. They respond to visible proof. A lean physique is proof. It says this man governs himself. And if he can govern himself, he can govern his life. Leanness is rare now, which is exactly why it carries status. Most men are overstimulated, under-disciplined, and constantly distracted. Comfort has made the average man soft, both physically and mentally. When a woman sees a man who is lean, she is not just seeing abs or muscle definition. She is seeing resistance to comfort. She is seeing a man who chose discomfort voluntarily day after day when no one was watching. That choice is attractive because it separates leaders from followers. There is also a primal honesty to leanness. You cannot fake it. You can fake confidence. You can fake money. You can fake social dominance for a while. But you cannot fake low body fat. It exposes habits. It exposes consistency. It exposes how you live when motivation disappears. Women trust what the body reveals more than what the mouth promises. A lean man doesn't need to convince. His presence already answers the question of competence. This is why leanness now functions like social currency. It elevates how you are treated by default. People assume you are disciplined. They assume you are capable. They assume you are ahead of the curve. Women assume other women want you. That assumption alone changes their behavior toward you. They become more attentive, more curious, more receptive, not because you demanded it, but because your body communicated value without noise. What most men misunderstand is that this isn't about vanity or ego. It's about alignment. When your body reflects structure and order, your words carry more weight. Your boundaries are respected faster. Your silence becomes powerful instead of awkward. Leanness amplifies everything else you bring to the table. Without it, even good traits get diluted. With it, average traits are magnified. In 2026, women are surrounded by men who want ease, shortcuts, and comfort. The lean man stands out because he represents the opposite. He represents scarcity. Scarcity creates desire. Desire creates attraction. Attraction creates opportunity. This is not cruelty. This is nature responding to visible strength and self-mastery. So when we say leanness is the new status symbol, what we really mean is that discipline has become visible again. In a soft world, hardness stands out. In a distracted world, focus becomes magnetic. In a culture that rewards indulgence, restraint becomes elite. The body is simply the billboard that broadcasts all of that without explanation. And once you understand this, you stop asking whether getting lean is worth it, because you realize it changes how the world responds to you before you ever say a word. Getting very lean doesn't just change how your body looks in clothes or mirrors. It radically upgrades the signals your face, posture, and energy are sending every second you're around women. This is where most men completely miss the point. They think attraction is built from conversations, jokes, or techniques. But long before any of that matters, your physiology is already speaking for you. And in 2026, women are more visually and energetically attuned than ever. When body fat drops, the first transformation happens in the face. Jawlines sharpen, cheekbones emerge. Eyes look more alert, skin tightens. This isn't cosmetic fluff. The human brain is wired to associate facial definition with health, testosterone, and genetic quality. A lean face subconsciously communicates, this man is not struggling. Even if your life isn't perfect, your appearance suggests control and stability. Women respond to that before logic ever enters the room. Then there's posture. Extra body fat pulls the shoulders forward, compresses the chest, and dulls presence. Leanness opens the frame. You stand taller without forcing it. Your J shoulders naturally sit back. Your walk slows down. Your movements become economical. Women read this as calm dominance, Not loud dominance. Not try-hard confidence, quiet certainty, the kind that doesn't need approval. Hormonal signaling plays a massive role here too. While leanness alone doesn't magically raise testosterone, the lifestyle required to get lean often does. Consistent training, proper sleep, reduced junk intake, less alcohol, more sunlight, all of this compounds into higher androgen expression. That shows up in your voice depth, your facial hair density, and your overall intensity. Women don't consciously say, his testosterone is higher. They just feel more polarity when they're near you. Energy is the real separator. Overweight or soft men tend to move through the world with low-grade fatigue. They fidget. They rush. They over-explain. Leanness strips away that sluggishness. Your nervous system becomes sharper. You react instead of anticipate. You pause instead of filling silence. Women feel this immediately. They relax around it because it feels grounded, predictable, safe in a masculine way. Another overlooked aspect is how leanness removes neediness. When you've suffered through hunger, discipline, and long-term restraint, you stop chasing small dopamine hits. That includes validation from women. You're less reactive to texts, less desperate for reassurance, less shaken by mood swings. Ironically, this emotional independence is what makes women invest more. They sense that you are not seeking them to complete you. You're inviting them into a life already structured. Leanness also changes how you handle pressure. Dating, training, and staying consistent when motivation dies teaches emotional regulation. You learn to tolerate discomfort without complaint. That skill transfers directly into relationships. When a woman tests you, pulls away, or becomes emotional, you don't collapse or overcompensate. You stay steady. That steadiness is deeply attractive because it feels rare in modern men. In 2026, women are overstimulated by noise, men talking too much, trying too hard, performing confidence. A lean man doesn't perform. His body has already done the talking. His presence feels clean, intentional, and uncluttered. That clarity cuts through chaos. So this isn't about vanity or becoming obsessed with aesthetics. It's about removing friction between who you are and how you're perceived. Leanness aligns your internal discipline with your external signal, and when those two match, attraction stops being forced and starts becoming natural. Getting very lean also rewires how the world responds to you socially, and this is where attraction quietly multiplies without you doing anything extra. Most men think women decide attraction in isolation, one based purely on personality or effort. In reality, attraction is heavily influenced by context, perception, and how others respond to you. Leanness amplifies all three. When your lean clothes sit differently on your body. This sounds shallow, but it's critical. A simple shirt fits your shoulders and chest, your waist tapers. Jackets frame you instead of swallowing you. You don't need expensive fashion or flashy brands. Your body becomes the structure that gives clothes presence. Women notice this immediately because it signals taste, self-respect, and awareness without words. In a world where many men look sloppy or invisible, a lean frame stands out effortlessly. Social proof increases as well. People treat you differently when you look disciplined. Men show subtle respect. Women linger longer in conversation. Staff are more attentive. None of this is conscious or fair, but it's real. Humans associate leanness with competence and control. When women see other people responding positively to you, their attraction accelerates. You don't have to convince her of your value. The environment already did part of the work. Another overlooked layer is how leanness aligns with modern dating realities. In 2026, most first impressions happen digitally. Photos, short clips, social media, dating apps. Leanness translates incredibly well on camera. Facial definition, body angles, posture, and silhouette all read stronger through a screen. You don't need filters or tricks. Your structure does the work. This matters because women form assumptions before ever meeting you. Being lean preloads those assumptions in your favor. There's also a psychological shift that happens once you realize you're no longer invisible. Many men operate from scarcity because they've lived unnoticed for years. They overinvest. They overpursue. They tolerate disrespect. Getting lean changes that internal math. You start receiving passive interest, looks, smiles, curiosity. That abundance relaxes you. You stop clinging. You stop negotiating attraction. Women feel this immediately because nothing kills desire faster than a man who needs it to work. Leanness also sharpens your standards. When you've put serious effort into your body, you naturally raise expectations for how others treat you. You become less willing to accept chaotic behavior, mixed signals, or disrespect. This boundary setting isn't aggressive or verbal, it's energetic. Women either rise to it or drift away. And the ones who rise tend to bring higher quality connection because they sense you won't tolerate dysfunction. Another key factor is consistency. Staying lean requires long-term discipline, not bursts of motivation. Women are deeply attracted to men who can sustain effort without external pressure. It signals future reliability, not in a boring, predictable way, but in a grounded, competent way. It suggests that if life gets hard, you won't fold, you won't outsource responsibility, you won't collapse emotionally. That's rare in modern dating, and rarity creates desire. Finally, leanness strips away excuses. You can't hide behind, "I'm just not attractive anymore." That accountability changes how you show up. You speak more clearly. You move more deliberately. You stop self-deprecating. Confidence grows not from hype, but from evidence. You did the work. You earned the result. That quiet pride is magnetic. This is why getting lean isn't just a physical upgrade. It's a social and psychological one that compounds everywhere you go. When your body reflects discipline, the world adjusts around you, and attraction becomes a byproduct instead of a pursuit. Getting very lean forces you to confront discomfort, and that discomfort is exactly what reshapes your masculine edge. Most men avoid this part. They want attraction without pressure, results without sacrifice. But the process of getting lean strips away softness, not just from the body, but from the mind. Hunger, fatigue, routine, and delayed gratification harden your internal frame. And women are far more responsive to that internal structure than anything you say. When you're cutting fat seriously, you're saying no constantly, no to junk food, no to late nights, no to emotional eating, no to comfort. That discipline bleeds into how you speak, how you move, how you decide. You stop over-explaining. You stop reacting emotionally to small problems. You become more grounded under stress. Women feel this stability immediately because most modern men crumble under minor pressure. A man who can regulate himself when uncomfortable feels safe, solid, and quietly dominant. Leanness also trains patience, which is a severely underrated masculine trait. You don't wake up lean. You earn it over months of boring, repetitive effort. This rewires your reward system. You stop chasing instant validation. You stop needing constant reassurance. That patience shows up in dating as calm confidence. You don't rush intimacy. You don't force outcomes. You allow attraction to build. Women associate this restraint with high value because men who have options don't rush to lock things down. Another shift happens in how you handle rejection or uncertainty. When your body reflects discipline, rejection doesn't hit your identity the same way. You don't spiral. You don't chase. You don't try to prove yourself. You adjust and move forward. That emotional resilience is rare, and it's deeply attractive. Women test men unconsciously to see how they handle emotional friction. A lean man who stays centered under pressure passes those tests without knowing they're happening. There's also a primal signaling component here. Leanness exposes bone structure, muscle separation, and posture. These cues are associated with health, mobility, and competence on a subconscious level. You look capable. Not aggressive, not flashy, capable. In a world of overstimulation and emotional chaos, capability stands out. It tells her you can handle life without needing to lean on her emotionally. That independence fuels desire. Getting lean also removes internal negotiation. Overweight or soft men often bargain with themselves. "I'll start next month. That's not that bad. I'll make up for it with personality." Leanness ends that self-deception. You either do the work or you don't. Living without excuses sharpens your self-respect, and self-respect changes how others treat you. Women don't respond to men who try to earn attraction through effort alone. They respond to men who respect themselves enough to hold standards. Another layer is how leanness aligns you with challenge. Once you've proven you can reshape your body, you stop seeing obstacles as threats. You see them as systems to solve. That mindset is contagious. Women are drawn to men who move toward difficulty rather than away from it. Not because they want struggle, but because they want a man who won't fold when life applies pressure. Finally, leanness creates congruence. Your words, actions, and appearance align. You don't talk about discipline, you embody it. You don't preach confidence, you demonstrate it. That congruence eliminates confusion. Women trust what they see more than what they hear. When your body reflects order, restraint, and effort, attraction becomes instinctive. This is why getting lean isn't about impressing women directly. It's about becoming the kind of man whose presence does the convincing without effort. When you get very lean, your environment starts reacting differently to you, and that feedback loop changes how you show up everywhere. Most men think attraction is built only in private moments, but in reality, it's reinforced publicly first. The way strangers look at you, the way people listen when you speak, the way women notice you before you ever open your mouth, this is where momentum is created. Leanness amplifies your presence without you trying to perform. One of the biggest mistakes modern men make is believing attraction is something you do instead of something you are. When your body is lean, your posture improves naturally. Your shoulders sit back, your neck lengthens, your movements become more deliberate. You take up space calmly instead of nervously. This changes the social dynamic immediately. People defer slightly. Conversations slow down around you. You don't have to dominate. Your presence already anchors the room. Women feel this and respond because it signals leadership without force. Leanness also filters your social circle. When you live with structure, training consistently, eating intentionally, sleeping properly, you stop tolerating chaos. You don't stay out late with people going nowhere. You don't bond over complaining, binge drinking, or emotional dumping. This raises your standards quietly. Women pay close attention to the standards a man lives by, not the ones he talks about. A man who curates his environment signals self-worth, and self-worth is magnetic. Another overlooked factor is how leanness sharpens your boundaries. When your body reflects effort and discipline, you become less available for nonsense. You don't chase flaky attention. You don't overinvest early. You don't tolerate disrespect disguised as humor. This isn't because you're trying to be alpha. It's because you've built a life that requires energy, and you protect it. Women instinctively test boundaries to see where they stand. A lean man with a structured life passes these tests by not reacting emotionally. He simply chooses differently. Social proof also increases naturally. People associate leanness with competence, consistency, and control. Whether that's fair or not doesn't matter. Perception drives reality. When women see other people respect you, listen to you, or seek your opinion, attraction grows without effort. This is why trying to impress directly often fails. Indirect signals, how others respond to you, carry more weight than anything you say to her. There's also a subtle shift in how you handle attention. When you're not lean, attention feels scarce, so you cling to it. When you're lean, attention feels normal. You don't rush to lock it down. You don't overtext. You don't seek reassurance. That emotional neutrality is powerful. Women are drawn to men who don't need them to regulate their mood. It creates polarity. She gets to feel, and you get to lead. Leanness also reduces internal noise. When your nutrition training and routine are dialed in, your mind becomes quieter, less anxiety, less overthinking, less second guessing. That calmness is felt immediately in conversation. You listen more. You speak less, but with intention. Silence stops being awkward and starts being grounded. Many women associate this calm presence with maturity and depth, especially in a world full of reactive, emotionally loud men. Finally, being lean aligns your external image with your internal ambition. If you expect more from life, but your body shows neglect, there's friction. When your body reflects effort, your goals feel believable to you and to others. Women want to attach to momentum, not potential. Leanness makes momentum visible. At that point, attraction stops feeling like something you chase and starts becoming something that naturally follows you. When you commit to getting very lean, the final transformation isn't physical at all. It's identity level. This is where most men misunderstand the process. They think leanness is about looking good for women, but the real shift is that you stop negotiating with yourself. Every time you train when you don't feel like it, every time you say no to comfort food, every time you go to bed on time instead of chasing cheap dopamine, you reinforce a new self-image. You become the man who does what he says. That internal congruence is the deepest source of attraction there is. Women are extremely sensitive to incongruence. They can feel when a man talks big but lives small, when he wants respect but avoids discomfort, when he desires leadership but crumbles under pressure. Getting lean removes that gap. Your daily actions align with your intentions. You move through the world with less self-doubt because you've proven to yourself repeatedly that you can endure discomfort without collapsing. That steadiness is rare, and rarity creates value. As you get leaner, you also stop outsourcing your confidence. You're no longer dependent on compliments, validation, or female approval to feel grounded. Your confidence becomes self-generated. It comes from knowing your body is sharp, your routine is disciplined, and your standards are non-negotiable. This changes how you relate to women completely. You're not trying to win them over. You're inviting them into a life that already feels complete. That flips the entire power dynamic. Another critical shift happens in how you handle rejection or indifference. When your identity is built on effort rather than outcomes, rejection stops feeling personal. You don't spiral. You don't chase. You don't try to convince. You simply continue forward. Ironically, this detachment often increases attraction because it signals emotional self-sufficiency. Women feel safer around men who aren't emotionally fragile, men whose sense of self doesn't shatter based on one interaction. Leanness also forces you to confront your excuses. You can't hide behind genetics, bad luck, or circumstances when your body clearly reflects discipline. This accountability bleeds into every area of life: career, finances, relationships. You start asking better questions. What am I tolerating that I shouldn't? Where am I being lazy with my potential? That self-honesty makes you sharper, more decisive, and more grounded. Decisiveness, more than charm, is what women respond to long-term. There's also a sexual polarity that develops naturally. When your body is lean, your hormones stabilize. Testosterone increases. Your voice often deepens slightly. Your movements become slower and more controlled. You don't fidget as much. You don't rush conversations. This creates a grounded masculine presence that contrasts strongly with the overstimulated, anxious energy most modern men carry. Women don't always consciously know why they're drawn to this, but they feel it immediately. Importantly, getting lean teaches patience. Results don't come overnight. You learn to delay gratification. You learn to trust the process. This patience translates directly into dating and relationships. You don't rush intimacy. You don't force commitment. You let attraction build organically. Women sense this restraint and often invest more because the man isn't desperate to extract something from them. He's choosing, not pleading. In 2026, where attention is fragmented and discipline is rare, leanness becomes a visible signal of mastery. It tells the world you can commit, endure, and evolve. Attraction becomes a byproduct, not the goal. And once you embody that, you're no longer trying to attract, you're simply being noticed.